Oh, what a process this has been. We built the barn back in 2016, 8, 9 years ago, and these little culverts have been washing out this backside ever since. Ruts and drainage issues, just a pain. So we got the excavators in here from Todd's landscaping company. I got my skid steer trying to do some recovery stuff, and he's got his skid steer in here. And we try to build a retaining wall, folks. I have waited years to dig out this dirt and be able to afford big enough boulders practically to do this. And I really wanted to do it 4 or 5 years ago. I wanted to get these culverts buried in deep enough that they wouldn't freeze so badly. I wanted to handle the water drainage that I've been dealing with in my horse pastures from this barn so much more effectively. And it's just been really hard to do. So as you can see, I got spigots and spouts and ditches and edges sticking out everywhere. We got PVC pipe attached. We used the 4-inch to match the gutters. Try to get it into the dirt. Had to bend it down and below what's going to be the future wall. It's been a challenge. I needed about 25,000 just for probably the block, not including his fuel and labor and materials, and there just was no way around it. We're going to crack well over 30K to get something like this done. So every year for the last 8 years I've been trying to save about $4,000 a year to finish this barn out and put a retaining wall in. And I need something strong enough that when we put it in, that we can go around the barn and drive around it with the skid and be able to work. So in comes the block. Oh, look at this stuff. It's just kind of pretty stuff to work with. So Todd bought, I think, 6 loads of this block for us. And then, we had to place it. Now each block is pushing 2,000 pounds. And they've got these nubs on top. And then there's a top block that goes above them. And then in certain areas there's a header piece. And what was really tricky is moving these things around. They're not the easiest to move. We can use the skid steer and put the forks wide enough to grab them just like they pick them off, but then you'd have to put them in from the backside, which is almost impossible for us. So then we got to pick them up with their chain points. They've got these like chain points on them, and take the excavator, pick them up, and then kind of rotate them into place. Talk about difficult. It's just not an easy process. By the time we excavated out the dirt, which took us 3 days, took us one whole day to get the PVC pipe in and get it below where we want to put these retaining wall. And then the time it takes to compact this all with the gravel and stuff that we needed, and then set these beasts of a block down in place carefully. We were 3 weeks into a 2-week project, easily. On top of that, the fill material, we just weren't sure how much we were going to need. And oh my gosh, did we need fill material. I was hoping we could get away with 6 or 7 loads of class 5 and maybe a clean rock, maybe 2 or 3. Try more like 15 loads of class 5, 16-yard loads, and 7 or 8 on the clean gravel or the clean rock, 3/4 minus. Just terrible amount. There's no way to stay on budget with a project like this. You just kind of bleed a little bit and pray the credit card can take it at that point. Because once you're in it, you're in it. You try to save up the money for 8 years to be able to afford it, and then you still come 5 or 6,000 short because of materials and supplies. This poor trucker too, he was in and out of here time and time and time again, unloading these blocks and getting them out. It's just what it was. It was a process. Trust me of that. And here you can see the gravel, you can see the clean rock, and then on the back side you can see what we did. Everywhere we had these blocks, we backfilled it with the clean gravel and fabric. Everywhere that we had the culverts, got gravel put in them to stop them from lifting up and damaging. Just a process, if you know what I mean. Here we're just using the forks to kind of tap them in line and make them right. Ryan's over there just trying to guide. I mean, even though we had string lines and we had paint on the ground, it's very difficult to get it in perfect. I really pray on this mucky clay that we've got that when it gets wet, these things hold their position. We've got them sitting on a lot of class 5. The distance is What do we figure the distance? 80 some feet on one side, and then about 50 on each of the other ends. So we're running a lot of distance to get it done, and then we're trying to taper it into the wall. Corners were a little difficult. Corner pieces go together the best they can. These are the corners right here. They kind of cap up, and then you can see the top pieces have a swoop to them, which we're going to use to protect the wall from when it gets a massive rain from crashing down over the top of it with water. It's actually going to come right up to the wall and then hopefully stay put. At least that's the game plan. As you can see, it's just different weather, different days. Trying to get this thing done was just difficult. We had some good weather towards the end, which was real helpful, and it was dry. When we get to the second layer, the excavator was able to work more independently, so to speak, than before, because putting it on the nubs or on these bumps, there's only so many places you could put them. It was basically put them on them and slide them together. This top row, like I said, has like a swoop to it. So when the water hits it and goes between the blocks or goes over the top, we can put rock there and try to maintain it. You can see that where we dug out on the inside, that's going to settle down in there. So we're actually going to make it a little higher at the beginning, which is good. We had to do some cutting to make a few things fit, to make the rock fit where we needed it to fit. So that had to get done too. Man, it was dusty work. Just cutting that concrete and stuff is what it is. But again, we just kept placing through it all. These two guys worked really hard trying to get it in place. Todd and his son here, they busted their butt on the farm for days. My kids were right in the middle of this. We spent hours raking gravel and seeding and putting down things. Once we got this in place, the big concern is it's October, so this isn't going to grow grass overnight, and I certainly couldn't afford to have it sprayed. So my only good solution at that point was to seed this, put straw over the top, and then seed it again and pray that that seed works its way in, and then come spring we can get a jump start on the grass growing right through the straw. It's the only way I can hold the hill, because if I don't, it'll just rut up and then we'll be back to work in the spring. You see the skid there on your left-hand side of the screen. It's dumping the gravel and the rock in there and filling it up. Again, we'll have a nice ability to go around the barn and repair steel or whatever we got to do with the barn. We'll have a good 10-foot runway all the way around to hopefully do whatever work we need to do. And I'm certainly praying this wall don't sink and it stays right where it needs to be its entire time. There is a fabric on the inside of the wall to help it and to keep the materials from pushing through the wall. And there's the black fabric. It goes all the way down to the bottom, and then it goes all the way down. It's a walk to get down here. This is all class 5 packed on top with gravel, like I said, between it and the wall to help deal with water. Hopefully this all goes smooth. All the dirt was put down on the bottom again, trying to level it out going into the pine trees, but it still gets steep on the one corner. Just the manpower. You can see here how we kind of had the bottom row end, and then the next row continue on, and then the top row is kind of the look-see on it. All in all, it's a project. I'm glad it's done. Now I just pray the heavy rains and the earth hold. That's all I can say. I'm always a little nervous too when you put gutters in this way, where you put drain spouts down into the earth. I guess my headache there that I'm always a little nervous about is them freezing up in winter and then the water coming up over the top or shoving the gutter up. But hopefully we've got them buried deep enough that that won't happen. Hopefully we've got open enough ends where the water can just flow out of them and we can make this work. It was just impressive how much material had to go into things to make it, but we did the best we could getting it in. It just took time. Now, as we finished up the wall, as you can see here, he finished up leveling on the top for us. We brought in a pulverizer to put the earth back down and kind of fix the lawn so we could seed on it. It's hard when you're dealing with clay. Even though it's dry at this point, it's still what it is. We had to finish one of the culverts all the way past the horse area, and then it was throw the seed down, which we did first, and then throw a ton of straw, and then we even seed it over into the straw so it works its way in, trying to hold this hill. At spots where we didn't cover with straw, we tried to seed some more because we had some wind damage, and then we threw more straw over the top of it, really trying to just get something to establish itself. We fixed the driveway where the piles are, and then we kind of, cleaned up the culverts and fixed the corner ends the best we could. And as you can see, the top is on now, all graveled in. The big long shot of the barn here is done. Oh, it looks nice. So I'll slow down the video here as we finish this up, just so you can see it a little more closely. Had to kind of put some caps on the edges just to make it a little bit more cosmetic here as the rock kind of comes over the edges. We have the rock inside the wall set a little high because we expect it to settle about 2 inches. We have the horse area all back up and fixed. We've got frickin' straw everywhere trying to hold this hill for the spring rains. And, we've got 180 feet of massive wall. What more can I say, folks? The horses are happy. The barn wall's up. It is what it is. I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. Folks, it's a love kind of project. I've been waiting to do this for 8 years. I finally got the money up to do it because I don't like loans. And we got her done, folks. Thanks for watching.